Golf season, it's here. It's pretty much in full swing at this point. Chevy wants to help you make the most of every single drive that you have. The all-electric Equinox EV, it's got it all. Roomy interior, advanced safety features, and much more, including the best-in-class 17.7-inch diagonal standard touchscreen display. A big show with lots to talk about. Some privacy to consider while we discuss on this very show. A trip upcoming. It's a nice show we got here, gentlemen.
Yeah, we're heading to Houston, so hopefully we can see some of you Texans out there. We'll be in Houston tomorrow and Wednesday, or tomorrow when you're listening to this, it is Wednesday. We'll be at the Pro-Am at the Houston Open. Love is in the air for sure. We got a lot to get to. We talk Severance at the end of the show, so if you have not caught up, the final 10 to 15 minutes of the show is a Severance recap. So make sure you know that going in. Don't let this thing autoplay and like you're kind of napping and then you wake up and all of a sudden we give you spoilers. We're telling you right now. And also a spoiler, Chevy, the greatest car manufacturer in the world. So that shouldn't be a spoiler. It's something you should know.
Iconic, the bow tie. You know it, I know it. Chevy knows it. The Equinox EV, roomy, no compromises interior, ample cargo room, convenient storage solutions, comfortable seating for up to 5 people. Head on over to Chevy.com/Equinox EV. That is Chevy.com/Equinox EV to check out product info, lease offers, and amazing deals. We got voicemails on this show. We go for a very long time because we had a lot to discuss. Chevy.com/Equinox EV, Chevrolet together. Let's drive.
Have we talked about how much love is in the air?
Oh yeah.
God. I wasn't. I was.
Were you going to skip it because of for privacy?
I was respecting privacy.
Fore-play presented by Barstool Sports. We are back. And gentlemen, love is in the air on this special episode, Tuesday edition of the Fore-play podcast. Love is in the air. What a beautiful time to be alive. Viktor Hovland with a nice win down in Florida. Justin Thomas is playing some great golf. We got Masters commercials during the March Madness. We got the Hogs. Woo Pig Suey are just one of the great picks of all time for our man Frankie Borelli, the ExperianBusters, and we were victorious. We dodged a bunch of bullets. We got a bunch of cash coming our way. So, like I said, a lot of great things in the air right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Love is definitely in the air. Privacy is is first and foremost. I think that's something that we all can agree on, that privacy in relationships is number one.
Absolutely.
But, we'll get to all that. I think that we got to start off with this ExperianBusters. I mean, my goodness. Fellas, $40,000 for the fore-play crew. We were in a company-wide challenge, where it was draft style. Everyone had to pick a 9 through 16 seed, and whatever team made it the furthest wins $40,000. I'm in the office picking pretty late. Like our name wasn't called until the second half of the draft, and all names were going off the board. Roan picks right before me, picks Lipscomb. I don't even know if that's a real school. His co-host, this is no shade at my guy Roan, because Roan, me and him traveled the world together. He's in my band. He's my singer. He's, we're as tight as can be. Both wives are giving birth around the same time. His co-host went to Arkansas, and he didn't pick Arkansas. So I picked right after him. I just said Arkansas, John Calipari, and they made it to the Sweet 16. They won 2 games, and every other team that's a 9 through 16 lost. This has to be the first time in tournament history that only one team over the 9 seed made it to the Sweet 16. I mean, has to be, right? I don't have the stats on that. I could ask Brock or something.
I mean, I know the buzz around the tournament right now is that it's a lot of chalk. There's a ton of chalk. The higher seeds are dominating the tournament, but we, meaning Frankie pretty much, because he was there when we drafted, took the only team, the higher seed that advanced. I'm beside myself. I was watching that Colorado State Maryland game last night, losing my mind. When Colorado State hit that 3 to take the lead, I wanted to cry. And then they had Maryland had 3 seconds left. Bang, guy kisses it off the glass. Buzzer beater. First buzzer beater of the tournament. Our Arkansas Razorbacks, Woo Pig Suey, Go Hogs, they were the 2 best games when the tournament started. And then now they're the highest seed going into the Sweet 16. It's a good basketball team too. I haven't watched a lot of Arkansas basketball. I've watched 2 games now. That's a good basketball team. After I watched the first game, I was like, oh, I'm glad we got this team. And then they advanced, and watching all those other dominoes fall in the ExperianBusters was the thrill of a lifetime, honestly.
It was very nerve-wracking yesterday because it's not like, if one of these other teams advances like we're still in position A. Then we go into like position F, where it's like we have to win a whole nother game in the Sweet 16. That's not going to happen. It's like we already not going to happen, but you're up against it. I do agree. Great team. I've always kind of watching both games so far, felt very confident the whole games, and then they just delivered. But yeah, it was like we just simply could not have another team get through, because sure, Arkansas might continue to go through, but getting two miracles to happen is unheard of. Needing another third in the Sweet 16 would have been going from thinking we've got 40K in the old fore-play bucket to like, oh, now we just have 0. That's a huge difference. So yeah. Last night, ExperianBusters, we've never had any success in this anyway. Like we do this every year to some different, we have different sponsors, we have different prizes, we've had crypto, we've had trips to Las Vegas with Dave, DP40, all kinds of things on the line. I don't think we've ever really come close to success before.
Yeah, I mean, is it my 40,000? Yes, but I'll give you guys some. Like, I'll
nice.
definitely, I'll give you guys some money. But yeah, no, I never won fantasy football. Like nothing ever comes my way in these things with drafts. Like I'm always last. Like this is insane. Like, just Arkansas came to me. And unfortunately it came at the expense of St. John's. That was hard because like I was with a bunch of people. Like I'm a New York guy. I'm not the biggest St. John's fan, but like we never have a college basketball team to call our own. We don't have college sports really that we can really gravitate around. And the whole state of New York was gravitating around St. John's, Patino. They play at the Garden. I actually went to last year I went to a St. John's game when they played Hofstra at UBS. Like it was just like I knew some of the players. I had gone to a game and I had to root hard against them, which was really, really difficult. A lot of people telling me to go like hurt myself and stuff like that, which was tough. But no, great time to be alive. Like we said, love is in the air. So is Arkansas football, basketball. Go Hogs.
Go Hogs.
Go Razorbacks.
I was so unplugged from college basketball. I mostly follow Iowa basketball. Shout out to Ben McCollum, new head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes. But I didn't even know Calipari was the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Had no clue. And that's going to piss some people off probably. But the fact that it was Calipari Patino in that round, that game had real juice and that was fun. And I know people love the St. John's team, but I didn't give a shit. And it was like, that was a really fun game to watch.
Great game.
It was a great run. It made the weekend so fun to watch. So yeah, dodging bullets yesterday. Way to go. ExperianBusters, Arkansas. It was always Arkansas, they're very close to us down there in good old Missouri, Table Rock Lake. We went down Big Cedar Lodges on Table Rock Lake. The bottom part of that lake is in Arkansas. Eureka Springs area I've kind of been to a bunch of times. So seeing all of a sudden I was rooting for Arkansas all weekend was kind of a funny dynamic, and I'm glad it paid off. So that was a ride. March Madness is great. The Maryland game, I know last night we were obviously trying to dodge the Colorado State situation. That turned into one of the best finishes the best finish maybe of the weekend so far with them hitting the three. Our guy coming back and hitting that off the glass was, like you said, Frankie, fantasy football, all kinds of stuff. That shot never goes in for us or for me.
I also just had a crazy, there was just like a lot going on. Like at that moment, like things were just kind of, I thought like lightning was going to hit my house and like it was over for me because like, every team that I needed to lose was losing. I was winning a bunch of bets. I had a couple of hockey bets in that were like all hitting. This was coming in that looked like it was going to hit. Like we just got like a new countertop because Hannah didn't think that the height was good enough for the baby. The baby's going to love this new countertop, but like that went in. So like we got like kind of like a new kitchen outlook. And then all of a sudden, like I'm playing NHL with my buddy and like we're in the playoffs of this EASHL thing. And I was scoring goals like crazy. I'm on the microphone with them. And my dad now, he plays Xbox with us and he just joins the party chats and listens to us play NHL while he plays PGA. But like we're playing, I'm scoring goals. And then I was on Family Guy with Dave. So like all this stuff, dude, my phone while I'm playing video games was like chaos. And then like we won the 40,000. And I looked around, I'm like, this is insane. And then I came, but then like, and then everything after I cleaned myself up, like everything just kind of was like, what just happened over the last hour? That little touch off the glass, the Family Guy skit, like, just I'm scoring goals, winning games. We made it to the finals. Like just things were happening, man.
The Family Guy part of it is the craziest part. Like that.
Crazy.
I mean,
nuts.
I know we won 40K. I'm sure you guys performed well in the playoffs in the NHL and whatever, but you being portrayed in Family Guy, I mean, that's one of the great comedy honors in like, that's like getting parodied on SNL. Like there's only a few of those tiers that you can hit. And I actually haven't seen the full clip. I've only seen the screenshot. And I know Dave has some issues with the way that he was portrayed.
It wasn't the nicest portrayal because it was they don't really portray Barstool fans as the best, saying like, it's UFC fans and some other word, whatever they use. I forget what they said, but, kind of saying like they're just a bunch of, hooligans kind of coming. But he's like, there'll be a line at the door. It's just going to be filled with UFC fans and whatever. And I mean, it wasn't the best portrayal, but it was half nice, half just kind of a shot, which I think you're going to get on Family Guy. Like getting a unscathed, cameo on Family Guy's probably never happened ever. So,
and they nailed you. They nailed you.
Well, at first, like Robbie Fox texted me first. He's like, bro. And he sent me the picture. And I was like, that's insane. First I looked at Dave. I'm like, that's insane. Like Dave's in Family Guy. And then I was like, oh, you think that's me? And he wrote in like all caps. He's like, do I think it's you? Bro, it looks more like you than you look like you. Like, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't do pizza reviews anymore. And he's like, but you did like 1,500. Like, I did all the pizza reviews with Dave forever. So, I mean, I saw people like obviously Austin's his guy and he's been doing every single pizza review since I've done the golf stuff, but I don't think that the history of my pizza reviews has kind of gone out the window. I think I've done my fair share of them. I just was stunned that they picked me. So then I think Robbie is friends with one of the producers or something.
Oh,
and
no,
he
it's
kind
one
of
of the
was
writers.
like
It's
one of the writers. So he was like kind of like trying to dig at like why they did that. And he was like, Robbie wrote like, oh, and you guys nailed Frankie. And he's like, haha, yeah. Just goes to show like how up to date we are with the internet. We thought he was still doing the pizza review. So like there was confirmation that like that actually was me, which I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool.
It's you, dude.
Yeah,
it's you. So much so that I changed the profile picture on my phone. When you call me, that guy pops up now. It used to be, remember that picture from way back where you just took a regular picture and you looked as fat as you could possibly look?
New Year's Eve 2022.
New Year's Eve 2022. Your neck is huge. It's been that for whatever 3-4 years. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I have to change it because it looks just like your backwards hat, like vest, like that's you, dude. If you don't know, by the way, that's you. Like
I know,
holy shit.
Someone's
so
like,
good.
their lack of detail in the face actually like fringed on being mean. Like it was like, it was just a round cartoon face. So yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. I mean, that's a pretty big pop culture moment, like being in Family Guy, regardless of if like for Dave too, that's insane. Like just being acknowledged for him in Family Guy is awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. He put it on his story too. He was just pissed they didn't let him do the voiceover, which I agree. They got to let him do the voiceover.
Gotta let him do the voiceover. If you're going to put him in, let him talk.
Yeah. Cause it is,
right.
It's like you nailed it earlier with like Family Guy is they're going to make fun of you, but they're also going to show you, which is its own thing. Like they're never going to be like, wow, I was on Family Guy. They were so nice to me. It's going to be a mix of both. So that's kind of what you got, which is great.
Yeah. All in all, of all the historical cameos in Family Guy, it's probably one of the nicer ones if you think about it. I mean, they said like he's going to be great for your business. You're going to have a line on the door. He helps small business. Like at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing.
No.
All right, moving on. We got a couple little administrative things. We're going to be in Houston this week. We're going to be down at the Houston Open Memorial Park Golf Course. Have not been down there before. We got merchandise on site. So anybody who's going to that event, there's some serious players in this event. Obviously, we're getting close to the Masters, only a couple weeks away, so it's kind of a final tuning opportunity for a lot of players out there. And we're going to be down there. There's a little pro-am situation on Wednesday. There's merchandise in the tent that we're going to be checking out, promoting. So anybody who's going to be at the Houston Open, come out and say hi because we'll be around this week.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff. This is kind of like a last-minute thing that we got put together. It wasn't on the schedule leading into the year. Like we have our merchandise kind of set out, and we know we're going to the players, and we know that we're doing stuff with like the PGA and all, certain PGA Tour events like the Tour Championship and stuff like that. It's all planned out. This one kind of came out of nowhere through like, weird. It was like a DM of like a business DM being like, hey, would you guys want to be involved in this thing? And this was like a month ago. So shout out to our team for being able to kind of scramble and get a ton of merchandise at this event. So if you're there, I think there's going to be like a tent that literally has like the Barstool Golf logo on it. So we'll be there checking it out. This is a cool event for us. I know that we have a lot of fans and people that watch our stuff in Texas and Houston in particular. I know when we were there for the Final Four years ago, like Houston was awesome. Or I guess Houston was the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah, San Antonio was the Final Four. Houston, we were there for the Super Bowl. Like the first one, when we were on Comedy Central. Remember that? That was in Houston.
Oh wow, yeah.
Wow, I was right.
We went to the Ice Box or something like that. The Ice House, Houston's Ice House. That was like my first big trip with Barstool, and like we were on. Glenny Balls was eating cheese doodles in the window
RV.
of the RV.
Yeah.
I think that was Houston. But yeah, no, we have a pretty big following there. So hopefully if you're going to the tournament, come watch us at the Pro-Am. Obviously nerve-wracking always to have to hit shots. I know Trent just played in the Creator Classic at TPC Sawgrass. So you're right back on a tee box with fans lining the fairways. This is just who we've become, is like hitting shots in front of people, which is so dumb. The dumbest thing that they could ever allow us to do. But yeah, I mean, come show out for the fellas. I would love to have a nice little crew following us.
And then we got a video coming out this week. I believe the video from the Cologuard Classic, which is a little different. It's probably going to make you feel some emotions, a little bit of perspective pie from this video. And it's also sneaky. Got some great guys in it and some great information and some great tidbits. We've got multiple major champions. So Padraig Harrington, Stuart Sink, and then Jerry Kelly, who is a huge advocate for colon cancer screening awareness. He's unfortunately had several folks in his personal life who have been affected. And then we at Barstool Sports, we have one of our lead engineers, Markham Rollins, who's just a fantastic guy, phenomenal golfer, who's big diagnosed with, I believe, stage 4 colon cancer. And he is as obsessive of a golfer as you could possibly imagine. I had some contact with him, but Beef went down there with me. A bunch of our production guys went down to Tucson a couple weeks ago for the Cologuard Classic. We brought a little surprise for him. We filmed a fantastic match. So that video is coming out, I believe, on Wednesday. I looked on the schedule. We'll have to post kind of the exact time, but I believe that video is coming out on Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that bad boy.
And that's a good video, not even to just watch and spread to your buddies, like just for the content aside. Obviously we love if you share it and like it and do all those things, but just like the exposure of what they're actually trying to get across from this tournament, checking, making sure you get colonoscopies and all these things. Like this is so important, especially for our demographic, like the male 30 to 50-year-olds that are very active and think that they, nothing can really get to them, and you're on top of the world, you're Superman, and then all of a sudden, like, you just don't get checked. Like, this is really like a call out to all these people, being like, make sure you're on top of this stuff, because it could happen to anyone, just like our coworker, and it's horrible what he's been going through. But kudos to him for being able to like have the fortitude, the mental and physical real strength to like go out there and just keep doing this thing and golfing and doing all the stuff that makes him happy, and really spreading the word. Like, that's an emotional video that we were posting there for sure. I think it'll make people feel good, like watching someone really enjoying life, which is pretty rare nowadays. I feel like everyone just kind of like goes through life and just kind of like waits for the things to happen. You wait for something good or bad to happen. It seems like these people that are hit with these horrific like bad news or illnesses and stuff like this, like it puts that whole new perspective on, where it's like every single day means so much, and like you just are so happy with everything that's happening, and like you just have such a different perspective on life. It's such a lesson that like you don't need to get to that point to feel that way, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's very cool because Markham talks quite a bit on the video about that, and about sort of how important golf is for him for that, and like kind of finding the energy to battle. I think I saw on his Instagram yesterday, I think he posted, a lot of details about what all he's been going through. I think he said he's been through 29 rounds of chemotherapy,
That's
battling. And so finding that energy, still fighting like the beauty and being out there playing golf with friends, laughing. And then as a huge golf nut, to have these big names come in, like I mentioned, from Padraig, Stuart Sink, Jerry Kelly, like it was a very, very special day. Beef was out there, and Beef's obviously taking off his hat, shaking everybody's. Arkham's family was out there. They're the nicest people. So And then, he was going that weekend. He was flying, taking an overnight flight to DC to go, fight the good fight on the policy front and trying to raise more awareness for all the things that we kind of highlight in the video that the Cologuard Classic tournament does such a good job of raising that awareness for people to get screened earlier. And so, I think people are really going to enjoy that video, and it does. It makes you feel something, puts a lot of things into perspective. It kind of makes you all realize how lucky we are on a day-to-day basis, how cool golf is, how blessed we are to be able to have those types of experiences. And then, 3 big names out there who were awesome. These players being as good as they are, with all the different individuals and families that are affected by, colon cancer and horrible diseases, is very inspirational to see them, to see how good they are, how much time they commit, how genuinely into it they are, how much they're giving these guys lessons, tips, but also not treating them, like charity. They're actually in there. They wanted to beat us. We played a match, and they Stuart Sink afterwards he had a big putt to try to win the match, and he was like, I wanted to win. I wanted to make that putt as much as I wanted to make the putt to win the British Open. I want to beat you guys. So it's they were, and Markham loved that. He was like, I don't want any bullshit from you guys. Let's go. So it was awesome. A great match. The holes came down to the wire, and the guys were awesome with it. So I think people are gonna love that video. It was very good.
Yeah, can't wait to see it. And like I said, send it to your buddies. Make sure that if it's not just for the entertainment aspect, it's more the exposure. Let what these guys talk about really ring true and get to the places that it needs to get to, because as many people need to hear this story and all the stuff as they possibly can. That's why he's doing all this stuff. We got to make sure that it gets to where it needs to get to.
Markham, incredibly inspirational and good dude. So I think people are really going to like him too. He was great. All right, moving on. Valspar Championship this past weekend. Tough golf course. We have a great relationship with that place, with the Copperhead course, Ennisbrook. We've been down there, done Barstool Classics there. Tampa area, the Tampa area, and John Cooper, shout out to him. But hell of a finish. Interesting little run here for Viktor Hovland. First, shout out to Justin Thomas. I know he came up short. I know he didn't have the finish that he wanted there, but we've had this conversation a few times over the last couple of months, and even going into the Ryder Cup 2 years ago, and it was controversial if they were going to take JT or not. JT's just he's just one of those guys in the game where the game of golf on a professional level is better when he's playing well. That's just a fact. He's an entertaining guy. He's got a great personality. He's involved. He's been kind of the emotional leader of Team USA for a decade now. He's had some incredible runs. He can kind of catch lightning in a bottle sometime and shoot incredible rounds of golf out there. When he does it, it's just entertaining to watch. He's a shot maker. He doesn't just hit the ball straight. He can hit it low. He can hit it draws, cuts. He's hitting little stingers when he won at Sawgrass a handful of years ago. He's a very fun player to watch. His this year so far, he's got 4 top 10s already in 2025, including 2 second place finishes, and just trending in the right direction. I know he finished 33rd at the Players Championship, but that was with that course record round on Friday, where, again, when he does that kind of thing, he could just steal the entire storyline of the day at one of the biggest events of the year. And I really thought he was going to get it done. He had it going there in the middle part of that round where everybody was kind of, they were kind of stalled out or even backing up, and he was just kind of hitting every shot that he wanted to hit and making birdies. And then next thing you know, I think they posted, it was in 22 minutes, Viktor Hovland went from 3 shots down, I think, to leading, or 2 shots down to leading. So things happened very quickly. But wanted to start before we go into Viktor Hovland, who I got quite a few things I just want to say because he's such an interesting cat. Just shout out to Justin Thomas. He's playing great golf right now.
Justin Thomas is doing this thing where he'll just put himself behind the 8 ball as soon as the tournament starts. I was just looking at his rounds. Opening round, he went out in 40. And then he just had to crawl. He shot a 73 that day. I think he shot a 65 on Saturday. But if he just if he has a normal round, a normal opening 9, he wins this tournament by a few shots. So he did that at the Players where he shot a 78 or something and then shot a 62. If he can just somehow get it all going at once, and I know that's the hardest thing in the world to do in golf, he's going to light the world on fire. And it would be great if Justin Thomas and Rory-McIlroy I want them both to have great years. That would be incredible.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of people saying oh, it's a little bit of did he choke it away because of how hot he was? And I don't think you can really say that when you start your tournament 73-70. Like you're saying, you kind of had to chase all the way up the leaderboard to get in a position where, yes, he did make a bogey on 16 and 18, and you end up losing by a couple strokes. Like that's a tough way to finish. But you also got to look at 11, 12. He birdied 11, he birdied 12, he birdied 14, he birdied 15. So he was firing going into that final stretch. Yes, bogey 16 and 18, not the best look in terms of like when you're looking at just a scorecard. But Viktor Hovland just stayed solid, let other guys kind of make bogeys around him, made birdies coming in. And at the end of the day, like that's not a collapse or anything. Like I saw some people talking about like Justin Thomas, he's right knocking on the door, but he can't get it done. Like, I don't know. It felt to me like it was one of those, he was chasing and he just came up a little bit short, regardless of if you were in first at one point. Yes, he had a 3-shot lead, but like it just never felt like, I don't know. It's one of those, maybe I'm just being nice to him. It just felt like one of those where it didn't feel like a collapse.
I'm with you. It's sort of like if he goes 73-73 and misses the cut, that narrative doesn't exist. But he actually ended up playing well throughout the rest of the tournament and put himself in a position where people can be like, oh, he didn't finish it. Like do you know how well you have to play to shoot a 73, a 40 going out on Thursday to even be in the mix? God forbid, even be tied for first or be in first at some point. Like that is the accomplishment. I understand what people are saying, but I kind of don't, because it's, he just made a couple bogeys and that happens. But for him to get into that position is heroic shit.
It's very interesting that you made that point, Trent, because I was just kind of thinking back to the majors that he's won. And in 2022, I believe he tied or set a record for coming as the farthest back anybody's ever come in the final round. I think he was like 7 shots back going into that final round when he won at Southern Hills. And then I pulled it up again because I was like, is this really that big of a trend? In 2017, when he won the PGA Championship, which is back at Quail Hollow again this year, by the way, he opened with a 73 in that tournament and then concluded with 66, 69, 68 to kind of come again, charging back and win. I think it might be because he's just such an emotional player. Like he really, truly is. He's like, he thrives in the fire of it. Like he thrives. That's why team golf, that's why late in big tournaments, he could kind of turn it on. That's why when he gets these really good rounds going, I feel like he can go crazy low. He's posted a 59. He shot that record tying at the time 63 at Erin Hills in the U.S. Open. He shot that 62 at the Players. Like, I feel like maybe on Thursdays, Fridays even, he struggles to get like as going because it's sleepy. I mean, we talk about it all the time on tour, like Thursday, Friday coverage, Thursday, Friday at general PGA Tour events is just not that riveting. There's not a ton of juice. And then as the juice gets going in these events, he seems to really kind of turn it on. So it might just be because, dude, he relies so heavily on the crowd, on being in the mix, on things feeling really intense that he kind of locks in and plays his best. But that's an incredible observation because it does feel like that is more than just like it's happened a few times. That's a hell of a trend of him like starting off slow and then just roaring through tournaments as they get later into the tournament.
And sometimes it can happen for him over the course of a couple tournaments. Like there was a year ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, when he was putting up 80s. Like he would shoot an 80 and people were like, holy shit, like that's crazy. And then I think a couple weeks later, he almost won or did win. So he's very hot and cold. And it might be because on Thursday, he's just kind of like, I just don't feel it. He's got to figure out a way to feel the juice early. We said that about Rory a lot. Like he'll start real slow, especially in majors. And you're like, man, if you could just be 1 under or 2 under after a round or two, like you're in the mix. Like don't go out there and shoot a 74 and it's like, all right, they're not going to be a factor unless apparently you're Justin Thomas where you need a 73 to then go shoot a 65, it would appear. It's crazy.
Yeah, some guys do need to feel that kind of pressure on themselves. It's bizarre. And yeah, hopefully he can correct that because you're not going to win many times, but you're going to come close. You're definitely not going to string along as many victories as you want starting slow.
No, it's hard to do. And it's, if you could kind of get over that hurdle, which I mean, it's not easy. Everybody's got their hurdles in golf. Everybody just got over them. People would win a lot more. I mean, the best players of all time don't win more than like 10% when they play tournaments. So it's like, you're just not going to win that often. But yeah, that is something to absolutely keep an eye out for. But dude, he's playing solid golf, getting yourself back into these tournaments. Like he made the cut, barely, I think, on Friday, and then was pretty much in the dominant position to like win the tournament yesterday afternoon. And people were saying that he like choked. It's like,
right. Like what, I would be curious to know what were Justin Thomas's DraftKings odds. He goes out in 40. What are his odds to finish top 5? They got to be astronomical. Keep an eye on that. That's something to keep an eye on.
I like that.
Who just did this? Who just was it Highsmith that made the cut on the number
Joe
and
Highsmith.
won?
Mm-hmm.
First guy like ever, or like in 30 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, I was at the Cognizant Classic down there at our PGA National track.
Shout out to Joe LaCava Jr., who's on that bag.
That's right.
I actually talked to Joey LaCava Sr. He texted me about the Rangers kind of collapsing and the Islanders getting hot. Always around this time we start to rev up the hockey talk, and hopefully we could see Joey at the Masters. But he just asked me how the family was doing, and I said, "How are you doing?" He's like, he's so pumped. He said, "So pumped for the kid. His guy's just playing great." Like if you look at Highsmith, he's just like collecting. I think in the last month he has 3 top 20s and a win. So like just kind of making good money. And Highsmith's just like here to stay. It seems like awesome for Joey Jr. to kind of get that guy, the nice lefty, just slinging it all over the place, winning tournaments, playing well. Those are good numbers, and honestly, someone to look for here for the rest of the year. Highsmith.
Did we ever get the story on how those two hooked up? I feel like I don't know if we did or not, but it's an interesting.
I saw him at the airport. I saw Joey Jr. at the airport going to the Waste Management, and I was like, oh, like, honestly, I was like so dumb. Like, what are you doing here this week? I thought he was on Corn Ferry Tour, and he's like, oh, I'm on a new bag. I got this kid Highsmith, and he didn't really go into any specifics of how he linked up with him, but he's like, he's a good player. Like, we feel really good going into this week. And I think he may have missed the cut that week. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe he's just like talking this guy up, and then went on a tear ever since the Waste Management.
Yeah, I did. Then he went 17th first, missed cut at the Arnold Palmer, but then T20 and T22. And don't forget that T20 at the Players Championship with how big that purse is. That was $240,000 that he made for a T20 that week.
Damn,
so that's
real
nice.
Good spot.
I know. We got to get Highsmith on the show too. I was chit-chatting with the two of them on the range, and he was very into things, and he seemed like a great dude. He's a fun guy to watch swing too, with the lefty and just the look.
I would love to.
The best part of college basketball is here. We know you're as excited as we are to watch some big upsets throughout the tournament. Shout out, go Hogs. We talk about this on this show, but go Hogs. What a weekend for the crew. Watching on TV is great. Watching in person, really, for any kind of event is just unbeatable. While we're streaming in the cave, you can get out to see the action in person with Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime. I'm looking a little, basketball this weekend. I believe Florida and Maryland game, which is Thursday evening. They have all kinds of flash deals, tickets from $187 up to, tickets can get pretty expensive the closer that you get, but you're not going to find a better spot to get them than Game Time, which, again, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Going to events is as good as it gets, boys.
We're also kind of rounding into nicer weather up north. So, before you know it, baseball season will be here. Who doesn't love going to a baseball game? You just use Game Time for all of your ticket needs. Baseball, basketball, hockey still go. Like, everything is going or is about to start. And just use Game Time. They'll give you the best tickets for the best price. And bang, you're rolling and you're having a good night.
Love having a good night. You go to concerts. You can go to little comedy show. You can go to all of it. They're all on Game Time. The GT Picks feature setting at the top of the screen. You can browse also the best local Game Time Picks deals near you on your Game Time app homepage. I love doing that. Just see what's going on in town through the Game Time app. You don't have to know exactly what venue, what concert, what night. You can just look in general and see the coolest ones. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. You download the Game Time app. You create an account. Use the code FORE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code FORE, F-O-R-E, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. So, as you probably know, it's tax season. I would guess some of us are more confident than others when filing. You can make it easy and go to TaxAct and file online. They have a service called Expert Assist with several different levels of help from live tax experts. So again, no matter how in tune you are with filing season, filing process, doesn't matter, because they have, with the Expert Assist at TaxAct, different levels of help from tax experts. Express Connect, for those who have just one question. Express Review looks over your return before you file. Complete Care for the ultimate peace of mind when filing. It is a no-brainer. You go to taxact.com to get them over with. And again, different experts for different levels. You got to make this part. You got to do it right. It's a very important part of life, of living in this great country. Again, it's a no-brainer. Go to taxact.com to get them over with.
Shout out to Justin Thomas real quick for that Grant Horvat video. That one kind of went crazy. Him chipping that ball in at the end. It was so funny because like it's so good. Like if you even a lot of the people have been after the Creator Classic and Grant won. And I mean Grant's so good at golf, but like everyone's like this guy's got to go pro. And we've made that mistake too with talking about guys like Luke Kwan and Brad Dahlke, right? Like you just see these guys up close and you see them playing on YouTube and they're so good. They're going under par. And then he plays a guy like Justin Thomas, and Justin Thomas is doing things that you can't even comprehend. And Grant's like getting the doors blown off him in this match. It's like they're another level. Like just to make it to be pro is a level, and then to get to Justin Thomas level where you're winning double-digit tour events and you're winning majors, and that's like, dude, the chip in is so crazy. For anyone that didn't watch it, go watch the video. It's insane. Justin Thomas is like, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna fuck around with him a little bit and make him think that I can't make this, or make him think this is harder than it is. And he's kind of like, oh, I don't know, Grant. Like this is not gonna be easy. And he looks at the camera. He's like, no, it's perfectly easy. And he fucking chips it in, like pulls it out from a tough chip, like all the way down the slope. So it's just like another level of golf. And you could kind of see like a lot of the comments are like, I hope people are realizing like exactly how good these guys are. And that's really what YouTube golf is supposed to really highlight, especially when you get a pro. You're supposed to show them, the viewer, like how good these guys are comparable to an average golfer, or even in that sense, like the best golfer in your friend group, right? Which is like a Grant. And you're supposed to show their personality, which he kind of did all in one clip. So shout out to Grant, man. That's a fucking hell of a clip. That's something that's what dreams are made of right there in the YouTube game.
I remember we were like sucking off Brad Dahlke from the Hawaii trip, and Alistair Docherty is a big listener of the show. And I remember him just talking to him, he's being like, I was infuriated listening to that. And he's like, now don't get me wrong, Brad played in the Masters tournament. Like Brad's an unbelievable golfer, but like to be actually out there doing it, making it in pro golf is so unimaginably hard. And it is true, man. You take like the best golfer that you and your friend group have ever met, and they're not even close to someone who's like struggling to try to make it through Korn Ferry Tour and through PGA-tour. And then you put him up against, like you just said, Justin Thomas, who, by the way, is like rounding into shape. He's capable of like winning multiple major championships. And like that is just a level of golf that shouldn't even exist. That comes with such natural gifts, such hard work, such like DNA. His dad has been a PGA teaching professional forever. Then he's been tried, true, tested at Bama, and then in the mix at the Ryder Cups, and then in the mix at major championships.
Like we just mentioned.
Like,
these are decorated golfers. Like where, like if they were to show it, if they did it that way, it's just like medals and like everywhere. Pins and like you're not even, nobody is even close. We're talking about 0.00001% of the world.
Just to show like how good these guys have been their whole life. You guys see Miles Russell, the kid that we saw at the Players Championship?
Yeah.
We were recording our podcast and this guy comes up to us. It's like Italian Staten Island guy comes up to us. He's like, hey, Frankie, I found a guy who's got a better lefty swing than you. And I'm like, oh, all right. Like it was like a kid behind him. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, it's fucking Miles Russell, who's like played on the PGA Tour. He's like 14 years old. This kid's making waves. He's unbelievably famous right now for this like lefty swing. Everyone can't wait for him to be like a mainstay on the PGA Tour. I'm sure, I don't even know if he's like committed to a college or anything. Like who knows what this kid's future is going to be. He's going to be playing the Masters probably like next year.
Tailor-made athlete.
Guy.
Tailor-made athlete. And all of a sudden he goes out and wins this like the Sage Valley, Georgia Invitational, the Augusta Invitational, whatever you want to call it. It's like the most it's the most prestigious junior event that you can get invited to, and he won it. The guy was like out of control how good he is. Our guy Charlie Woods finished like 11 or 12 strokes behind him in like T27th or something like that. And yeah, it just goes to show, like, my point being is like this kid Miles is like already so unbelievably good at the game of golf. And he's just, you could just tell he's on that trajectory, and it's different than the people that are around him. In this junior event, he was just different. Way different, hitting shots differently, scoring differently. And that's the Justin Thomases of the world. Those are the Colin Morikawas. And then a whole nother level on that is Scotty and Tiger and Jack and all these fucking guys that are able to go on these runs of winning like 7-9 events in 1 year. Are you fucking kidding me? So yes, go watch the video, but it's supposed to really set the level of like what you're actually watching here. Pump the brakes, I think, is what a lot of people were saying.
It is. It's like, dude, I can't handle if I'm standing on the first tee and like Alex Bush is behind me with a camera. Like Justin Thomas is able to handle being in the heat on the 18th hole of a Ryder Cup match in Europe with the whole country like chanting against you and go up and absolutely deliver. Or in Australia with like in Melbourne with Tiger Woods as his teammate, just hooping putts and jumping in Tiger Woods' arm in front of the enemy. It's like this fucking guy can handle a YouTube match. So it is very cool to see kind of that difference. And credits to Grant. I mean, that clip is as good a clip as you could possibly get if you do what we do for a living. That's fantastic.
How is Alistair doing right now? Where are we at?
Alistair is keeping in tradition of the last couple of years. The top 20 players on the Korn Ferry Tour get their PGA Tour cards this year, down from 30, and Alistair is currently in 20th place on the points.
Oh my God, dude.
God
This
damn it.
fucking
But no,
guy.
I don't mean God damn it. I mean like, here we go. Let's do it again. Let's run it. But let's like
it's coming down to the end again.
Yeah.
It's gonna come down to the end. That like Korn Ferry Championship, that ending, that last event where he's gonna have to finish like top 5. It's just I mean, come on now, Alistair. We gotta get a cushion here. This guy lives life on the edge, on the number. But you know what? Third time's a charm, and this is it. This is it. This is the time.
I will say I don't believe he feels like he's had his A game yet this year. I think he really feels like he's kind of had his B game. And not in every single round. He's had some really good rounds, but I think in general he feels like he's been close, but not quite there yet. So to still be inside that line, albeit right on the number, I think is kind of a victory. He's feeling they're off. They have like 3 weeks off or so right now, and they're kind of back at it for the rest of the year. I played with Alistair for his birthday. Happy birthday to Alistair. It was his 31st birthday last Thursday. We went out and played, and I think at one point he was he had made like a double while trying to go for a par 4 or something. And then at the turn, he was like, it was Cal, good old Clutterbuck was out there with us too. And Al did that thing where he was like, all right, you fuckers are pressed now. And he made like 4 birdies in 5 holes, I believe, to just kind of take it to us and beat us, even though me and Cal are both playing pretty well. So he's still got that gear when he wants it. But yeah, he's right in 20th place, boys, which is the only spot that he, of course, could be. Viktor Hovland, what an interesting year he's had so far. There have been tournament after tournament where they have been asking Viktor Hovland about his swing and his game, and I love him because he is candid. We don't get this a lot from a ton of people in the golf world, just they're trained to be robots. We've had that conversation a million times. Hovland is such an interesting, kind of person that I think other guys from like Team Europe have said that when they're on the road for tournaments, and if he Googles that there's like an interesting archaeological site within like 2 hours, he'll get in his car and like go drive to it and explore stuff. So he's just a very curious person who's always kind of like looking into stuff. And since mid-January, I started pulling some quotes, but since mid-January, he's kind of had comments about how he thinks he sucks at golf right now and his swing feels like a disaster just as much as recently as this week on like Thursday and Friday. They were asking him again about his swing, and he was like, I'm looking up, and the ball is not coming out even close to the window that I'm looking up and expecting that ball to be coming out of. He won this week. He went out there on like the hardest course on the PGA Tour. We got JT who's trending in the right direction. Nico was up there. All kinds of great players playing good golf. Hovland feels like he's playing terrible, and he went out there and still was just able to get it done. I give him a ton of credit for saying afterwards, like, look, the ball kind of like everything that I needed to go kind of right went right, even when I felt like I was hitting it kind of shitty and ended up in totally fine spots. And then when I did think I was hitting my irons pretty well, I was able to hit it really close and make all the putts. So he's able to get the win out there. But what an interesting game that he had missed 3 cuts in a row coming into this. He's had 6 different coaches, 6 in the last year to get him to this point. Still feels like he doesn't really have it. Yet he won at Copperhead, which is an extremely difficult golf course this last weekend.
That's where it's like, we've been talking a lot about Justin Thomas rounding into shape. Does that even matter? Like Viktor Hovland is the opposite of rounding into shape, and then he wins. It's like that's got to be the most infuriating thing about being like a professional golfer in that position, where you're just like, I think I'm doing the right things and it all feels right, so I should break through at some point. And then you got Viktor Hovland probably sitting in a hotel room like, I don't know where this ball's going, and I just won the tournament. So what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was upfront about his game was decent enough to compete at certain golf courses, but like when a lot of trouble started to come in, he knew that it wouldn't be sustainable. So he's like, you play a place like the Players where the wind is whipping, you hit the trees, you can find yourself with water. Like, I just don't feel comfortable there. There's other courses that I feel like I can just hit it and I'll be okay. Obviously things started to tighten up for him in terms of his game and what he was feeling, because he was able to kind of come down, make all the the shots that he needed to make and secure the victory. But I wonder where his headspace is right now. I didn't really listen to any post round interviews of him, but like where he sits now as opposed to pre-tournament, when he was kind of like pretty not knowing where his game was at. Because like you get a win, he still might be in that headset of being like, yeah, well, I'm still getting lucky. Like if I play a tighter
pretty
course,
much what
nightmare.
he said. Pretty much what he said. He goes, I hit a lot of disgusting shots, but they happen to go where I look. And then when my iron game, I can still hit good shots, but I know that there's some bad ones creeping in there. But somehow this week, I was just able to hit the good shots that I can hit more often than I have in the recent weeks. But it's still the same tendencies, and there's still some of those high rights out there that I need to work on. But it's unbelievable to see that I could win. I honestly did not believe that I could do it this week.
Wow.
God, if you're Justin Thomas reading that, you're like, God damn it. What a guy. Fuck.
Totally. And credit, again, to him being that honest afterwards, but that must be demoralizing to some folks. And it does make you think like this is all meaningless. Like, oh, you got to get these reps in. You got to start getting competitive golf reps in. Then you got to get yourself into contention and see how you handle it. And then it's like, guy missed 3 cuts in a row. He's had 6 different coaches, and he goes out there, gets in contention, and just wins. So it's like,
I mean, it could be that he's being unbelievably hard on himself to the point of like delusion. Like
maybe
this could be like a cocky way of being like, I could be even better. It's like you just won a PGA Tour event and you're like kind of giving off the fact that like you had your D game, where it's like at the end of the day, this might just be it, brother. I don't know what to like. I know you think you could play better. I know it's not going exactly where you think so. And he's being completely honest. Like the ball's not going where he wants it to go. He's getting these high rights. He could be better. And it's like, I know, but can it? At some point, it's like there might be a sliver of delusion in there. There could be. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it was like a couple of years ago is when he was the best player in the world. He won the FedEx Cup. Remember that? He won all that going into the Ryder Cup. He was like unstoppable. And the reason I thought this could be a really interesting conversation is because it's a miniature version of the Tiger Woods conversation of like Tiger in 2000 changed his swing to that point where from late 1999 through like 2002, he played like the best golf that's ever been played. He had the Tiger Slam. He won the U.S. Open by 15. He won the Open Championship at the St. Andrews by 8. He won everything. And then he has since then multiple times decided to like change his swing, change his game. And it's a double-edged sword, because it's like on one end, what always made Tiger so able to kind of stay focused, stay entertained, stay driven, like stay sort of like, with his brain activated on trying to be the best, was tweaking stuff, not just like maintaining. It was like trying to chase this greatness. And one of the other quotes I pulled from Viktor Hovland was where he said, I've always tried to push myself. And even when it was really good, I kept on pushing and maybe set too high expectations, which is exactly what Frankie was just saying, because maybe I didn't realize how good it was, or I thought it could continue to get better and better and better. And he goes, for the most part of my career, every decision that I've made to change something up in order to play better, it has worked. And then goes on to say, like, except for this one. It's like, now I've gotten kind of worse. And then he talks about the process of trying to get back to some of your old patterns and how hard that could be. So I just think there's incredible parallels between like Hovland is this, again, kind of interesting cat. He's always curious about the world. I'm sure he's always curious about the golf swing, golf game, how he could get better. And that could be such a detriment to like, okay, if you got to the point where you're better than everyone else, which is really, really, really good golf, can you just maintain that for another 15 years and be the most dominant player ever? Or do you have to kind of constantly chase how you can be better, which is what I think, we all agree Tiger did. Whereas if he would have just been like, okay, I'm unbelievably good. If I just stay this unbelievably good and healthy for the next 15 years, I'll win 30 majors. but then he maybe wouldn't have been as engaged and would have been like, screw this. I'm going to go be a Navy SEAL, which is kind of what happens. So it's like, it's a very tricky spot for these guys at the top. And I think Viktor Hovland found himself in that spot, you know?
Yeah, you need that fire. You need to always like say, I can get better. I get that. It's just hard to hear after a win. It's like putting myself in the mindset of the rest of the field where you're kind of sitting in your car talking with your buddies. You're Justin Thomas. You're one of these other guys. And you're like, fuck off. You know,
Yeah.
like they get what he's saying. Everyone knows what he kind of means, but just playing devil's advocate a little bit where it's like, come on. I just won the fucking thing.
7 wins for Viktor Hovland, man. 7 wins. It's pretty, I mean,
yeah.
God damn.
No, he was a problem a couple years ago when he won that tour championship. Yeah. Like,
won
Viktor
the Memorial.
Hovland, we said,
like, yeah.
Every week it was that Scottie kind of like force where it's like every week you thought Viktor had a chance to win. It wasn't to the level of like, it didn't hit the gambling odds as much as Scottie did has, where it's like, you know, he would start a tournament plus 150 to win, where it's like he's going to win this week, and he does. But Viktor was to the point where he was the favorite going in almost every single week, and you thought that he had a chance.
Yeah, like he almost won the what was that PGA that Brooks won up in Alex Bush's neck of the woods?
Oak Hill up in Rock
Oak Hill, yeah.
Oak
he
Hill,
kind of got fucked up. He got in that bunker and couldn't get out. And then, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, Viktor Hovland's going to win this major." And it was like, yeah, he was just on fire at that point.
Yeah, and then too, remember when he started? Like, he had that hot stretch, and then he started his Ryder Cup with that insane chip in on the very first hole of the Ryder Cup, and everyone's like, "This guy is a fucking issue." Man.
I do remember that.
Yeah. It must be demoralizing, and I could see some eye rolls at the high level of the game when they read those quotes, Frankie, of people being like, all right, like, you won, we get it, you're the best.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of when I played, you know, playing high school sports or something, and like if I had like got, you know, if a pitcher like went, you know, 7 innings, struck out 14 guys, and then like did an interview with Newsday after and was like, yeah, I just didn't have my stuff today, I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yep.
Just wasn't snapping.
Get over on the
I was probably at 65%. Next week, I'm hoping to really rev up the fastball. It's like, oh, I guess we're pieces of shit. I guess we're all pieces of shit because you just beat us and you aren't playing well.
It's honestly, dude, it's very similar to what Rory was like saying. Everybody was saying about him last week, where it was like, yeah, Rory really didn't have it with the driver this week, and he like won the biggest tournament of the year. And it's like if you're our boy JJ Spahn or some of these other guys that were in contention, it's like I
just never had a chance
ever. You know, it's like I was unbelievable all week, and this guy's like, really struggled this week, but won. It's just like 2 weeks in a row we've had.
I guess my point is like it's easy to say when you win it, you know.
Of course,
yeah.
But to Viktor's defense, he said it before he won.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, interesting cat, that's for sure. Interesting cat. Good for the PGA Tour though, like having, you know, again, another victory for the tour in the sense that like another big name is starting to kind of show its face, show its teeth. You got a lot of guys now. We're starting to add to that list. I don't even know if we had Viktor Hovland on that list the other day when we were talking about big names. I'm sure we did mention him at one point, but he's a guy like he comes up. He's not turning the TV on.
Yep.
But he keeps doing this again. He has another year like he did when he won the tour championship. He starts to enter that world again.
I'm with you. He's not a turn the TV on guy, but he can be when he's on his runs for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It might not feel like it, but spring's right around the corner. Actually, I think it does start to kind of feel that way around the country, around the US of A. You know how you can tell golfers are hitting the links, and we have some tournaments to talk about. I was hanging out with some friends in Nashville, had the DraftKings sports book is live there, and we were red hot. We're having a nice time. I know Frankie said he had a good weekend as well, and then going into this tournament for the Masters, we are looking at I happen to like Rory. We also go through the whole mindset that we've been through over the last couple of years now of like not betting on scottie-scheffler. It feels like you're kind of like, wow, I mean, this guy's winning every time. But DraftKings makes all that possible, gents.
Yeah, it's a great time right now to be on the app. You've got a lot of action going on. Obviously, the tournament is huge. Just getting in on those. And yeah, hockey season, it's like every single game feels like Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals right now. All these teams, especially in the Eastern Conference, are playing for that final wildcard spot. You've got 6 teams that could make it. So yeah, every night has been great. Betting those overs has been a lot of fun.
Go Blues.
And I've just been riding the Islanders, man. Like the Islanders have just been covering. They've been winning games. They were underdogs for a lot of them, and they've just been coming out of nowhere. They got no Barzell. They got no Brock Nelson. Their backup goalie's out for the year. Their defense has never played together for more than 11 games. They just keep picking and choosing guys because everyone's hurt, and they just keep getting points. So I'll be riding the Islanders the next couple games. They got the Blue Jackets. They got the Canucks. Let's go. Let's go, Isles. Let's go, DraftKings. Come on. Stay hot. Stay hot.
Let's go, DraftKings. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers, you bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code FORE, F-O-R-E. That's code FORE for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Now looking forward to the Masters, like we haven't had a ton of Masters in recent years where it felt going in like there wasn't a clear favorite or two, and there's a lot of like players that could win. It does feel like maybe Rory, sure, probably the favorite going in, but dude, like 2 of the last 3 years, it was clearly Scottie-Scheffler, it was clearly Jon Rahm. Like those guys going into those most recent Masters have been like, all right, these guys are winning all the tournaments. We're going into the Masters. Sure, there's a bunch of big names that are good, but it's like probably their Masters to lose to a degree. And then they went out and won it. This one, with the different guys that have won, Scottie's obviously still going to be maybe the favorite, or at least close to it, betting favorite. But
what are the odds,
Rory's
Trent?
got
Scottie's a favorite
wins.
at plus 350, and Rory is the second favorite at plus 650. So, man, Rory at plus 650.
Wait, Scottie's what?
Plus 350.
That's insane. That is insane.
That's insane, isn't it?
No one's ever won the Masters 3 times in a row, right?
Well,
I know Tom Watson won.
He had a year off.
My gut says no, but I'm not Kirk Minahan. I don't have that knowledge ready.
He won 22 and 24.
Got it.
Because there was the Jon Rahm year in there.
Oh, right.
And that was the
players
he almost
for a
won
second
3
thought
years
it was
ago.
Rahm, Scottie. I thought he was back to back. I do know Tom
Rory
Watson won
plus
3 opens
650,
in a row.
And I know, we could spend an hour talking about Rory's demons at Augusta National, but that he's rounding into shape, which is just the words that we're using now. But that's like a guy who I could definitely see getting exercise those demons, Rory, and let's do it.
Just feels like a bad bet again. It's like he can't get it done, man. He just historically cannot win.
How about this? Ludwig Ober plus 1,400.
Dude, this is what I'm saying. There are some great names going into this. Colin Morikawa is playing damn good golf. Xander Schauffele is coming off
and
2 majors.
Still, Scottie will win. And still,
Justin Thomas.
And that Superman cape. That Superman cape's starting to come off a little bit with all these guys playing so well.
I think so too. Tommy Fleetwood has been incredibly consistent.
Oh my God, where's he at? If that happens, I would cry. Plus 3,000.
Bryson DeChambeau had a good performance at last year's Masters, and he's coming. We haven't seen him in a year since like the majors last year. It's like Bryson's great. Brooks can win any major given the chance. It's like we haven't even mentioned Jon Rahm. It's like, dude, there's a lot of guys going into this.
Spieth and Tommy Fleetwood have the same odds to win the Masters.
That's incredible.
I don't know how to feel about any of that.
This is a tough one this year to kind of handicap and like figure out what you want to do. Even top 10s, top 20s, there's so many guys in the mix. I'm still in the camp of like Scottie's a favorite for a reason. He's got double the best odds than the guy in second or the second favorite, right? You're talking plus 350 to plus 650 or whatever it is. I mean, there's a reason for that, but I totally get it. I totally get wanting to find that value in there because there's a lot of guys playing good golf right now. There's a lot of robots, we like to call them. You got Ludwig, who really doesn't make a mistake. He doesn't make mistakes. He's not even capable of making a double bogey. He hits the ball on a string. So it's like at Augusta, how does he do? How has he done historically at Augusta, Ludwig?
Dude, last year's Masters was his first major championship ever as a human being, and he almost won the tournament. He finished second.
Oh, I thought he played 2 years. He's only played one Masters.
Dude, I was stunned by that too. I was on the flight over the weekend. I was watching the final round of 2024 Masters, and dude, remember when he made that double on 11 and he was just smiling like he was a psychopath and nothing like mattered, and everyone's like,
"This second, yeah,
this guy's a problem." He's played the Masters once and he played it phenomenally. He almost won the tournament.
God, Max Homa, T3.
He hit that ball in the bush over the green on 12. Remember that?
That's
Landing on the back of the green.
Yep. Didn't come down. Just
Didn't
stayed
come
up
down.
in the bush.
He was like, he looked at Joe Griner and just goes, "Where is it?" He's like, Joe's like, "I get bounced into a bush." Max is like, "That's
standing on that tee, like being like, "Where's that ball?" The most iconic tee in the world. You're just like, "Where'd that ball go?"
Dude,
and everyone being like, "I think it's in a bush." Like, holy shit, we're at 12 at Augusta. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we should know where the golf ball is. It's the most eyeballs on a green ever.
Dude, it was horrible. It landed on
bush.
the green.
I don't know. I want to hit another one.
Then they were frantically looking for it in the bush. They ended up finding it. Yeah, nightmare.
Not finding a ball on that hole is so funny. Like, I think it's in this one. I don't know.
Also, if you believe Phil Mickelson, Joaquin Neiman is plus 4,000.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because that could just be like Phil propaganda.
But the thing with Liv is we just don't know. You know, people can be playing really well and we don't really know.
It is true. You just don't have any idea how to feel about them.
I love it though. I mean, there's a lot of action. I'll be doing a lot of top 10s. I'm going to do a lot of top 10s.
Okay.
I really can't pick a winner right now. Like for right now, I can't give you a winner.
I'm doing the Rory thing. I've been twice so far this year, Pebble and the Players Championship. I bet on Rory. I tweeted him out before the tournament finished, and he won. I've gone Rory.
Wow.
Probably every major championship, it feels like, for the last 3 years, and he hasn't won a single one of them. I've had my heart ripped out. Plus 650. I think there's a chance because is he playing this weekend? I think he might be playing in Houston this week, or he said he was going to play one of the Texas events. If he wins whatever one of these events that he plays going in, those odds are only going to go down more and more. This is my Rory year again. I'm going Rory for the Masters tournament. I just want it so bad. The career Grand Slam. God.
Frankie's saying he can't pick a winner right now. I mean, this guy Woo Pig Suey. He just had the greatest pick of all time. He's ready with winners.
Arkansas, I know.
Give us something, genie out of the bottle here.
Scotty feels good to me. It's just he really hasn't been. Scotty's been getting frustrated, but Augusta just resets your brain, man. It's its own world. Yeah. Anything that happens going into Augusta, I mean, I know that like the momentum means a lot, but like when he gets on those grounds, he's won twice. Like, come on, man. That guy just feels at home. He knows that golf course. He knows where to miss it. He knows the greens. That there's a lot there. There's a reason he's plus 350.
We got Scotty and Rory in the field this weekend at the Houston.
Wow.
Houston. I know.
We'll see them Wednesday. Hopefully we see them on the putting green.
Yeah.
Get some interaction.
Be great.
Should we do some voicemails, gentlemen?
Houston. I would love to do some voicemails.
Wait, have we talked about how much love is in the air?
Oh yeah.
Gosh. You know, I wasn't. I was. I guess
were you
going to
skip it because for privacy?
I was overdoing.
I was respecting privacy.
I was overdoing it, I think. So
I mean, I wouldn't mind Alex Bush pulling that thing up and us taking a look at this thing, unless we want to be the privacy podcast.
I think we can exercise privacy and still take a look at it.
Finding love.
I would say, I listen. I love love. Okay, I want to be clear on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should pull it up. I think I want to take a look at it because there's a couple things that I think we could maybe comment on, or we can not. We cannot. I mean, Alex Bush pulled it up. That wasn't. I just want to say one thing right off the bat, and I would say like when I'm speaking now, I'm a third party. I'm actually not me. I'm just like an observer. I'm not Trent, the host one of the hosts of this podcast. I'm just
24 million views.
I'm just the post. I'm just the guy who's like, whoa, I want to comment on this. And the first thing that really stuck out to me was just how much space there is above their heads in the first picture. They're like, you just crop that down. You can crop that down if you want, Again, this isn't me speaking. This is just a casual
think
observer.
Edited that thing, man. If you really take a zoom in, there's a lot of airbrushing going on. If you look at that. So I think that was by design. I think that someone, give me a little click and zoom in on Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Zoom in even more on Tiger Woods. You see what I'm saying?
I'm
a little soft.
This is not particularly private right here. But, the zooming in on Tiger Woods.
Everything is smooth.
Everything's smooth. Tiger Woods looks fantastic, by the way. That goatee, Tiger on the hammock, man. That's love, baby. Hammock love.
Casual observer, again, I saw some people saying, we might have a weekend at Bernie's situation in the second picture, which is rude. It's absolutely inappropriate and is not respecting privacy when you make comments like that. Okay.
This guy, man, this guy is very interesting.
That
with this
literally
type of
looks like
stuff.
someone's in a coffin and like their loved one is like sleeping with them for like putting their arm around them before
One
they close
last
the
time.
casket. Yes.
Alex Bush, take that picture down. This is up.
We don't have to see. I mean, the goatee looks great. The
that
Sunday
picture.
red looks phenomenal. The merchandise looks great. Love is in the air, man. I mean, we're happy for our guy. This guy's been through it, dude. He's been through it. He's been absolutely through the ringer in terms of his love life. Even if you read the Tiger Woods book, I think the name of the Tiger Woods book was called Tiger Woods. There's a book
I just looked over and checked it. That's correct. That's what it's called.
There's a book that has his face on it, and you'd be walking through the bookstore being like, what's that book called? And the name of the book is called Tiger Woods by Armin Katayan. And in that book, there's accounts of Tiger loving this high school girlfriend, and they were going to get married. They're going to college. He's going to Stanford, the whole entire deal. And his mom like wrote a letter to her and be like, you don't date Tiger Woods anymore. You don't get to
break up letter. See you later.
He's been in a lot of positions where the chase for greatness, which we're talking a lot about in this podcast as well, gets in the way of certain things, and love is one of them. Love is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
love is blind, but love like seems to show its nasty rear end to Tiger Woods. He's just really, he's had his run-ins, you know, he's had his altercations in terms of love, and he falls hard, man. The guy falls hard.
No doubt.
Like when he's in a relationship, he loves really hard. And like, he says that he can't wait to like live the rest of his life. Like this is an engagement post.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, where it's like, we're not, he is so like, I'm so happy that he made this announcement that has no reasoning behind it. They're not engaged.
No,
they're just like, we're together. That was odd. That was oddly the strangest part to me, where it was like, that's cool, man. I'm happy for him. I'm thrilled for him.
All jokes aside though, the post makes sense.
Does it?
The privacy part doesn't, but like saying I want privacy is batshit crazy, but because you're posting it, right? So like that part, you should just be like, this is the love of my life. And then you just leave it there.
Agree with that.
But the post,
that you could just hard launch it without saying like, we have love in the, it's like, you could be like, what a great weekend with my girl or something. And everybody would be like, oh, you guys are in a relationship.
Just let everyone know. There's a ton of tabloids. There's reporters following them everywhere. It's like a Donald Trump family member. It's Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. There's a lot going on. And I think that he's just like, I got so much going on right here with this new woman that I'm with, that I just need to let people know that like, yes, that's true. And I'm like enjoying this because I'm one of the most popular people in the world. And this is news. And for better or worse, you have to let the world know that. Like I got a couple of my buddies, my buddy Brian and Tommy in this group chat. They fucking drive me crazy with the anti-Tiger hate. And it just drives me crazy. They were texting me while the Family Guy stuff was happening. I'm like, I can't handle all this. They're like, it's the worst post I've ever seen. Guys are making fun of him. I'm like, listen, he's the most famous man in the world. Like, it's not like us being like, this is our new girl. Like, that's not, no one gives a fuck about that. We're nobodies. He is the guy. He's the buddy.
So are you saying to me, and I'm not Brian and I'm not Tommy, but I want to ask a question.
Oh, they drive me crazy.
I want to drive, especially if they're anti-Tiger. That ain't me. But you're saying that they maybe did the math on the speculation of whether or not these two people are dating is more than what we're going to get if we put up these two super normal pictures.
If you do it properly, I think that's the right calculation. If you do it the way that they did it, I think that the math is not going to check out on that. But I'm being understand.
Told it's the worst post ever. I'm being told it's the worst post that's ever been posted in the history of the world. Mean things were said about the post. It was a bad post. Mean.
I mean, we can all agree on that. It's a horrible post.
I think super normal post.
Yeah, right. So I do agree that like the speculation becomes so hot that you could kind of end the speculation just being like, yeah, we're in a relationship. It's going great. That Weekend at Bernie's style with the love is in the air.
The hammock pictures all time.
I can't believe that.
When the next hammock we see, we're recreating all of these pictures, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
My question about her, and then, you know, again, just an observer, what are the rules on, like, because she is not of the Trump family, she married Don Jr. at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they have since divorced, I would imagine that would check out with that math. You keep the last name?
It's kind of a Princess Diana situation, right? Wasn't that kind of the same?
Keep that name. I think.
Listen, if you're talking about a name that's gonna like potentially open doors, potentially close them, but they don't care. Like, it's Trump. Like, that's the last thing where you're like, I'm just gonna hold on to that one.
Well, she has 5 kids, so like I'm assuming they're all gonna stay Trump, right? Like, got Kai Trump as her daughter, so it's like it's all Donald Trump's grandchildren. So like at the end of the day, like it's still, yes, they are separated. They separated in I think 2018, right? I think it was. So I'm pretty sure it was a long time ago. I don't know the whole in and outs of the names. I'm sure with such a public family, it's like the Kardashians. Like they'll always just be the Kardashians, no matter like who gets married to who. Like I don't know that it was like Courtney Disick when it was like Courtney and Scott. I think it was like Kourtney Kardashian. No. It's just
I don't think
the Kardashians, the Trumps are the Trumps. Like you just have these last names. Like Cher has no last name, which is nuts. But
yeah,
no. At the end of the day, man, it's just a crazy post. It's just it's one of those things. But I get the scrambling on their end. Like I get the conversation that was had amongst like their team being like, we got to get something out on social. And when you give Tiger this opportunity, he's not the smoothest guy in the world. I don't know that he's going to nail it. And I don't know that he nailed it. I think these are tough photos and posts.
There's almost no amount of money I wouldn't pay to be on the inside of them deciding what pictures to put up. Of being like, is it this one? Is it this one? And then at the end of that, they were like, this one with a ton of space above us and the one where I look like I'm dead. Let's put those on.
That means it's somewhere on the cutting room floor.
Oh, there's some interesting cutting room floor ones for sure.
Dude, going with, yeah. But I mean, do you remember the Lindsey Vonn announcement post too? It was very weird.
I sort of remember that. I have a vague idea of what that was.
It was very similar. It was like,
were they skiing?
I can't remember if they were skiing, but she was in like a blue, remember she was wearing like blue, and it was a very similar, we're not engaged, it was just love is in the air kind of post.
I remember them like on a mountain or something like that.
Well, I remember the pictures of him because he had the tooth missing. That's probably the one you're thinking of. He had the buff on, the skull buff, and he was missing a tooth, and people are like, what's going on? No, it's, listen.
Oh boy.
I love Tiger.
He's been through it, man. He's just been through it.
I love Tiger Woods for a lot of reasons. And one of them is that on a Sunday night when the only thing people are talking about is March Madness, because it's March, it's red hot, Woo Pig Suey, like everybody's very invested in those games. And Tiger Woods will just drop a, hey man, by the way, love is in the air post. And then it just lights the internet on fire. He's the best in the business for not only golf, but also just generating interest. He's the best.
Could be a
love is in the air,
Could
and life is better with you by my side. We look forward to our journey through life together. At this time, we would appreciate privacy for all those close to our hearts.
Also, just a weird ending there. I don't think the PIP exists anymore, honestly. I think that's over.
Damn. I think you're right.
He's just running it up for interest.
I think people are just they're not understanding the privacy part. Like, he obviously doesn't mean like, hey, don't look at this photo. I think he means like I'm now announcing that we are together, and I don't need this car, whatever. I'm trying to think of like the word. It's car brigade, maybe. Is that
paparazzi?
What I'm thinking of? Yeah, like a paparazzi, circus
cavalry?
Kind of cavalry. Like every time they get into a car, he's like, "Listen, I'm letting you guys know that we are laying in hammocks and we enjoy each other's company for the rest of our time here. Like you don't like that's the privacy I mean. Like, hey, like it's over. Like I told you guys, let us just fucking chill now.
You don't need to get the hammock picture because here's the hammock picture.
Right here.
You're right. It's just like this is it. Like we were like respect our privacy. Yeah, we are now lovers.
I just didn't know. I didn't know that was happening. That there was generating. Like I definitely knew that there were a couple weeks ago there were rumors that he was dating. I believe Vanessa Trump is her name, and like it was just like, oh wow, we just thought Tiger was single, but it wasn't. Were there like paparazzi cars following them down the street? Maybe. I'm not living that life, so I just didn't know that there was like they're sitting there being like, man, there's so much interest in who I'm dating. We just got to
Tiger
go on.
Is also the biggest like craver of privacy in history. He named his yacht Privacy, so it's like
True.
you could name your yacht anything. Think about the different combinations of letters in the English language or any language. and he chose the word privacy. So that means the world to him. But I think it's quite the leap for people to be seeing this post to be like, you're announcing publicly that you are in love with this woman, but you want privacy. Those two things don't make sense. It doesn't work.
I tend to agree with those people because it is. I think I wasn't giving much thought to Tiger's dating life day to day at all. Like I was just like, I have no idea. A couple of rumors here, but then I go on to something else. Now it's like, here it is, and also we still want privacy. It's like, wow, okay.
Could have felt a million times more heat in their room than our lives. You know, like
that's right.
The heat was on them. They just felt it, and they post it, and it's like, and I don't want that like weird post.
That's also his team, right? Like that ain't Tiger writing that. So you got to think this is a team of people who get paid to kind of do this stuff and protect this man and get the message out properly. And that's what they came up with. You know what I mean?
Not good.
Overall, though, like if we're taking a way bird's eye view of this, I love it. I fucking love it. It was so good. I laughed so hard on my couch when I saw it. I kept reading it. I kept going back and forth between the pictures, and I was like, "This is the best fucking thing I've ever seen in my life." Okay,
I was fighting people off. I'm like, it's not stupid. It's not like I'm going crazy. They're like, this guy's a loser. I was fighting everyone.
It's also just funny, like Tiger. Everything in this man's life is just like holy shit. But his post right before that was like, "Hey, I blew out my Achilles and I'm out for a year." And then he's like, "By the way, I'm in love." It's like, fucking Jesus Christ, this is just. It's a lot,
dude,
man.
It's 100 mile an hour with this guy, always, everywhere, with everything. It just can't. Nothing can just be a normal thing, you know? God,
so good.
Yeah, it was.
But that's again, like, you know, you got Dave Portnoy getting it. He was texting us, being like, "This is wild. Like, it's great shit. I love it."
That is the level that he's on. Like, even right, like, no wonder they're feeling the heat in that room a little bit. It's like Dave Portnoy's tweeting about it, being like, "You fucking kidding me?" Wow.
Could have just like never posted anything. It would have been fine. But we don't know like what they were experiencing. But yeah, just
it was so out of the left field that it almost makes you think there's another move coming.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what that would be because Tiger keeps us guessing all the time. But it's like
it is.
Okay. It was the hardest of launches. It was SpaceX going to Mars.
That was a nuke launch.
Mm-hmm.
Just
it was the spaceship, man. Yeah.
Feeling that rumble. Hard launch.
Big names. The Trump name in any capacity, and then Tiger Woods, who was the most famous person on the planet at a time. Like those are two big things coming together, you know?
Yeah, it's like the most famous guy right now and is dating, or, you know, Trump is probably the most famous guy on the planet right now. And then Tiger Woods is dating someone that his family was involved with. Like, that's huge.
It's fucking huge. Love is in the air. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful thing.
Beautiful.
Voicemails. You guys want to do some voicemails? We got a little from the gallery. I believe that Bushman has prepared some. The number is 646-685-4717. And from the gallery is brought to you by our great friends at Truly Unruly. It's the first high ABV hard seltzer that actually tastes great. Truly Unruly is a hard seltzer that breaks all the rules, drinks light, parties hard. It's got 8% ABV, hits hard but still tastes amazing. Comes in 4 fresh flavors: tropical twist, berry blast, citrus crush, strawberry smash. Several Barstool classics already finished this year with the Truly Unruly, and folks love them out there. They're having a great time. It's the official hard seltzer of fore-play. You can find Truly Unruly at a store near you or visit www.trulyhardseltzer.com. That is trulyhardseltzer.com. Try the Truly Unruly. Let's do a little voicemail action. One
thing before we get to the voicemails, can we at the end of this podcast do 5 minutes on Severance?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to keep that in our ears. Have you guys all watched it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, I would love to do 5 minutes on that. I won't put it at the end because I don't want to spoil it for people, but let's just keep that in our head. All right, play it, Alex.
Hey guys, this is Tom from New Jersey. I have a pretty interesting question I was just dwelling on today while I was listening to a podcast. If you guys had a Mount Rushmore of golf holes in the game, what would you pick? And I'm talking purely design and legacy and skill and all that. Forget about the environment around a tournament. So I wouldn't pick like 17 at Sawgrass. Was thinking what you guys thought. In my opinion, I think I'd probably go 12 at Augusta. You could probably go a plethora of holes at Pebble. Probably like 5 or 8. And then probably the first at St. Andrews, but there's a whole bunch. 16 at Cypress. Curious to see what you guys think. Let me know.
5 at Pebble getting a shout out just for a random ass par 3.
What if
I
we
hate that hole, by the way.
What if we did?
I mean, a nice
Like,
par
I feel
on that.
like when you do something like this, that you're going to almost land on a lot of par 3s. What if you could only do one? Like, I just think a lot par 3s are so iconic. And we've talked about this on the show where it's just like, because they're easy, they're beautiful. Like, I think you could do a Mount Rushmore par 3s, no problem, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think everyone's favorite hole is always a par 3. I don't know why. I think I know why. It's because it's the whole hole. It's everything that you get to experience. It's like the views, the tee shot, the green. It's all in one little picture that you can put on your desktop or you can hang it on the wall. Like a par 5, a par 4 has undulation, turn. Like if your favorite hole in the world is like a dog leg right, it's like, how are you really? What are you doing? Like an aerial view of that? It's just really hard to like encapsulate it all into your mind. But yeah, you could do a non-par 3 Mount Rushmore. You would need 4. I mean,
or maybe you do 2 par 3s and a par 4 and a par 5.
For me, the par 5 is the easiest one. It's the 4th hole at Bethpage Black.
Yeah.
The 2-tiered par 5, just cut right within that that hill. They use that undulation maybe as good as anyone's ever kind of used, just like the natural terrain in a golf course. So that's mine. And then I think we know all the par 3s, right?
12, 7.
Trying to think like what he's saying. He's saying like take the hoopla of the tournament out of it, but I don't know that you can do that. I'm going to say for my par 5 for this, I'm probably going to surprise some people, but maybe others not. I'm going to say the 6th hole at Pebble Beach.
I was going to say that.
Oh, I love it, Trent. I just think that's one of the more underrated holes, if you could possibly say that, just because of everything that's around it. The 18th hole usually takes the cake there, which I understand, but I absolutely love that hole. I think it's a much, much more friendly tee shot than the tee shot on the 18th hole at Pebble. It's like kind of an awkward tee shot on the 18th hole at Pebble, whereas that 6th tee, you can hit it as far left as you want. It's got that iconic second shot over the bluff where Tiger Woods hit that 7-iron. And then when you walk up there and you do that 360 panoramic view from up near that green site all around you, it's like the most stunning view in the world. So my par 5 is probably the 6th hole at Pebble.
Yeah, I also like that it does lead up into 7, which would also be on my Mount Rushmore. It's like bang, bang. Like that's
true.
If you're out there, you're having probably the best day of your life when you're out there playing Pebble and you're hitting 6 and 7. That's as good as it gets.
First hole Spyglass is a really, really good.
Really good.
5.
That is a good one.
So was the first hole at Spanish Bay.
Kind of launching it all the way just down that hill, and the second shot makes you feel really good because you can just fling like a 3-wood as far as you want all the way down by the green. There's bunkers. You see the water in the distance. The houses are coming up.
That actually wouldn't be on my list because of my shot shape. Like when I'm teeing off at Spyglass, I'm so uncomfortable because I'm like, this is going in the trees. This is going in the trees.
Yeah.
It's really hard to come up with non-par 3s because the par 3s are just is the first hole, like the first hole at St. Andrews, or like the 18th hole at St. Andrews, like just in that town.
Yeah, the town part of it is so cool, but the first hole at St. Andrews is like objectively not a great hole if you just picked it up from there. It's just a giant open field with like a small little burn in front of it and a pretty flat, huge green. It's like not that. It's just not that riveting. But that first shot, I mean, it is the most nerve-wracking, coolest first shot you could possibly hit. You're just in the town of St. Andrews. It's insane.
I think those aspects of it should be a part of it. I know he said we're not even really talking about tournament stuff. We're just talking about things around it. Like Pebble, the 7th hole, if you just put that inland, it's like, all right, that's not that great. But it's the ocean that's like on top of you that makes it great.
Cypress, like the 15th and 16th par 3s at Cypress are maybe the best holes on the planet. Like, God. Man. I don't know if you could beat those golf holes.
So many. Insane. I mean, Pine Valley has a bunch of like par 4s and par 5s out there that are really good. But yeah, it's really, really hard to nail one down. Augusta obviously has great holes that aren't par 3s, but 15 is an unbelievable hole.
Great hole.
Yeah, it is a great hole.
11 is a great hole. 13 is
13 is maybe the best par 5. Yeah, ever.
It's like 13 in Augusta's. Fuck.
I would probably need to sit down on like a flight and really try to calculate in my own brain what are like my top 4 holes ever in the world
Yeah.
of golf. You're just going to leave so many out, you know? Bannon has so many holes all over all of its courses that you could throw in there.
Like Mount Rushmore is not big enough. There's not enough
No.
faces on there, you know?
It's only 4
No.
faces up there, right?
There's 4.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Thomas Jefferson,
Let's hear them.
George Washington,
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln,
Okay.
and Teddy Roosevelt.
I think you nailed it.
I believe that's
I
right.
think it's
I feel like I get the.
Roosevelt, Jefferson, Lincoln, Washington. Has to be.
I think you crushed it.
There
it's-
ain't no way. There's no
Yeah,
Adams
yeah.
up there.
I get my Roosevelts fucked up.
The only reason I would know is because I think it was all built well before FDR.
True. That's a good point.
I think. Because I was the same way. I was like, I feel like FDR is a bigger deal, but I think
Yeah. Not to shit
I
on
think
Mount Rushmore because it's, God bless America, but I went there as a child and it's like, okay.
When we went through
I've heard that as
the
well.
Midwest, we actually didn't go to Mount Rushmore because you said it wasn't worth it.
Because I said that?
Remember that? We were like, yeah, because I was like, should we make that 2-hour
Oh,
trip? 'Cause we
yeah.
were going through South Dakota. I'm like, I'm never going to the Dakotas again.
The pictures are better than when you're there.
It's small, right? Like
Yes.
it feels like, yeah.
Really?
You're like, oh, I thought this would have more gravitas. And it's just,
Like when you go to the Grand Canyon, you're like, whoa.
yeah. I've never been to the Grand Canyon, but I would imagine it's better than that.
Hannah and I went to the Grand Canyon years ago before I was working at Barstool, and it was like our first trip together that we went to. We stayed at like that Talking Stick resort.
Mhm.
And like I played that course. I was like, whatever, 21 years old, 22. And we went and you take this crazy ride through like Flagstaff, and it's like snow. You go from like hot to like, you go from like golfing to like snow, and then you get to the Grand Canyon. And like this part that we kind of like stopped at, we stopped at like this thing called the Antelope Canyon. And it's like where like the river kind of goes around this circle and you can like lean over. And I remember my tour guide, we had a tour guide, and he like held my jacket so I could lean over and look.
No, dude.
And like if he would have just let me go, I would have died.
Jesus.
And when we got to the Grand Canyon, there was a guy, I probably have it in my phone, of a guy sitting on an edge, just like flicking his legs around, like he was sitting like a toddler on like a big seat. And he was playing the guitar on a ledge of the Grand Canyon. It was fucking nuts, but it was like a vibe.
Jesus.
Like I remember like taking a video and just like this guy's just strumming like a nice like folk song.
Just ripping Wonderwall to the
I
Grand
think they were
Canyon.
filming like, yeah, they may have been like filming something for him, but it was wild, man. Like you kind of get that like hot, like sweaty feeling standing by the edges.
Oh, yeah. I mean, having that guy like hold you over it, that's
Crazy.
that's how horror movies start. That's how
news. I mean, that's how news articles start that I read quite frequently.
He's just like, all right, thanks for doing this tour. You're gone.
See ya.
You're
Yeah,
gone.
wow.
He was a nice guy. He made us ham and cheese sandwiches, and we ate them on the dam, the Hoover Dam.
I like
Sounds
ham
like a
and
nice
cheese
little trip.
sandwiches.
It was a nice
Yeah,
trip. It was a really nice trip.
Wow.
Arizona's
Okay.
beautiful. This part of the country is beautiful.
There's a lot going on there. It's not as much desert as you like. You can do a lot of cool things. It's not just like going to freaking Maya Day Club or whatever and seeing some booties.
I agree with that. That's probably the biggest thing that I learned moving out here, because I thought the desert was pretty just like a bland, similar landscape. It's kind of nice out here. But I also haven't done a lot of the cool
Well, then you go to Sedona.
Ironic.
Then you go to Sedona, and it's like Sedona is like Jurassic Park. Green as hell, red rocks everywhere. Fucking nuts. I think there's like a ton of celebrities that like live in Sedona full time because of how outrageous that place is.
It's awesome. I've been to Sedona. It's beautiful. The red rocks, the whole thing up there. And then you're not too far either. Flagstaff is like, dude, Flagstaff got like 9 inches of snow last weekend. People are up there skiing. It's great. It's 2 hours from Scottsdale.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Wow.
There's some Arizona history for you.
Bang.
Very nice.
Another
It's not
voicemail,
history,
Bushman?
It's like geography.
I'm going to go PY. Listen to this guy. Or girl.
Hey guys, long time listener here. Stemming all the way from Germany.
Mm.
Oh my god.
Basically, I've been listening to you guys for like about, 2 years now, but I've actually never played golf.
Wow.
Because in Germany, you have to take a course and pass an exam, like a written exam and like a practical one. I think you have to shoot like a under 142 or something like that to get your golf like license, kind of like a driver's license. It's insane. It's crazy. But anyway, I'm taking the course next week, so pretty soon. So I was wondering if you guys had any suggestions for a beginner. Yeah, interested to see what you guys have to say, and I look forward to hearing back. Thanks.
We can answer that guy's question, but I'm actually more interested in what do you think about that idea?
I don't know.
Like right now, you can go to whatever, sporting goods store, pick up a club, go to a local golf, pick up clubs, go to a local golf course and just play. In Germany, like he's saying, you have to basically get your golfer's license.
I want to say I hate it for the reasons that it's just another barrier to entry, and the game's already so hard that it shouldn't, that whole process that he's describing shouldn't scare you away from trying to play the game. I think it eliminates a lot of people because of their personality traits or whatever it may be. They just don't want to take a test. They don't want to expose themselves. They don't want to fail. So they're like, I'm not even going to try it. That part sucks. But the practicality, I guess is the word, around it makes sense. You want people that know what they're doing out there. I'm assuming Germany has less golf courses than we have access to here in America. So if you are a good golfer and it's something that you want to spend your money on, you want a higher level of golf out there so that it's not 7-hour rounds and it's not people that are learning how to play the game. So there are a lot of things that this is a heavy question. Do I like it or do I not? I'm going to say I don't because of the things that I have access to. We have public golf. I imagine all of the people in America having to take a test to do that. It would take a lot of people out of it. But I just think that they don't have as much golf courses there. So they needed to limit the amount of access. I think that would be my take on it, but I don't like it.
Unbelievable. We have a listener in Germany who's never played golf before listening to the golf podcast.
Crazy.
I'm obsessed with that. I'm very curious on his level of actual golf experience. If you have to go out and do this test, what have his limitations been on access and golf ability thus far? Has he never hit a golf ball on grass? Is it just a driving range? Is it just a simulator? Is it none of those? What is his current
that is an interesting there's an interesting percentage of people in Germany who really want to be able to play on golf courses, but they're not on golf courses. They're just at the driving range, I guess, practicing. It's like driving with your mom before you go take the driver's test. It's these aren't just people who are oh, I guess I'll try golf, and they go and take the test. They shoot a 150 and they're like, I guess it's not for me. There's got to be people grinding in Germany who are I've taken this test 5 times and I have not passed, but I'm really trying. I'm on the driving range all the time. You're not eliminating people at driving ranges. You're just eliminating the actual people out there playing golf.
I'm going to say on a macro level, I hate it in terms of golf and Frankie said, accessibility and we're trying to get more people into the game and barriers to entry. On a personal level, I could see how one would love it of pace of play would just be better. And if pace of play is just better for everyone, we talk about that on this show quite frequently. That would just be better for the game of golf. Everybody's moving around quicker because they've got this license, which by the nature of that means that you just kind of understand what it's like to play golf more than other people. That's why you got this license. Then everything's just going to move smoother and quicker out there. But I don't think that sacrifice is worth the fact that you're making it so people literally are not allowed to play golf. They're already not allowed to play golf by barriers to entry that society has created. Now we're actually not letting them play golf because of this license that they haven't acquired. Yeah, that's tough to get behind. I don't think I get behind that.
To answer his question, what should he do for this? If we have any tips, it's hard to answer that we don't know what level he's at right now. I'm assuming he's never really played the game of golf. So that's a hard thing. You got to break 144. The biggest thing would be to just whatever club. My take would be whatever club goes the straightest, just keep hitting it. If we're just trying to get this under a certain number, you're not playing the game of golf the way that you would you're watching on TV. This is a new style. This is keep the ball in play and move it down the course as efficiently as you can. And when you find something that works, continuously do it until you get the ball in the hole. There's no oh, I got to take a driver here because I'm on the tee box and I have to tee it up. If you hit the 7-iron really well, I've done this with people my cousins or whatever that have just learning how to play. We go to the driving range and they hit an iron really well. I'm we're just going to do that today. This is your first time. We're just going to do that. You're not hitting driver and then trying to nip a wedge and putting and chipping. Oh, that's in a year, let's get the ball in the air and move it. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a battle. Maybe keep us updated. Let us know how it went.
I was just thinking that having that documented would be kind of electric.
Oh,
When,
I would
yeah.
love
when you're out
to.
there like, all right, I got to shoot under, what was it, 142 or something? And it's like,
Mhm.
here we go. I mean,
I
my
wonder if they
videos
came
back
up
in the
with
day
that.
were just like this. I just didn't have to get a license.
What's that number that they came up with? 140. Like, where is that? What is the math?
It's a
that came
high
up with?
number. It's like, if you're not,
I'm gonna need you to
breaking
shoot
this on this course,
141 or lower, and then I'll let you play.
a double par.
I guess is that what it is? It's just 70. I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's 144, that would make sense. They're like, I need double par.
Maybe they're
but-
saying like, hey, like each hole, it's double par max, and like if you can't beat that, like you can't play today. You don't get your
That
license.
had to be what they did. That's got to be the closest thing, right? If it's par 72, 140, it's just like that's what we're
Yeah.
doing.
I'm against it too, but it's interesting that it exists.
Yeah. I had heard that it existed before, but I didn't know the confirmation. That's very funny to hear that it actually exists. I was going to say something very in line with what Frankie said, but I was going to say like don't be afraid to constantly adjust your par. So if it's a par 4 and you hit a poor tee shot, now you're playing a par 5, and that's totally fine. You don't have to try to force the issue because it says par 4 on the card. And then if you hit one of the trees, took you 2 to get out of the trees. Now you're just like, all right, I got to figure out how to make a 6 here. My par is now 6. That's fine. You don't have to try to force it to like try to make a bogey instead of a double. It's like just adjust your par and try to make an easy 6 from there,
I want updates from this guy. So whatever I unfortunately forget his name, but have him email back in or have him leave another voicemail. Like we want updates on this thing every couple of weeks or whenever he gives us an update. I would love to hear from this guy again to see how it's going.
The German listener. I like it.
The German listener who has not played golf. I love it.
PGA Tour 2K25. There's a lot of great features in this game. We love this game. We've got Barstool Players Championship merch in there, Barstool Golf, all kinds of merchandise in there, t-shirts, hoodies. Barstool apparel rewards are available for you for free in PGA Tour 2K25. You could buy PGA Tour 2K25 and create your My Player to equip the Barstool apparel. Fantastic game, golf, video games. What more could you possibly want?
Yeah, I've been playing a ton of this. I got my dad on it. He plays every night now, every single night. He calls it X Golf. He just texts me X Golf, and he wants to play it. He can navigate the menus better than I thought he could. He's joining my party. He's joining the room. We start a room code. I sent it to him. We play Divot Derby all night long. He loves Divot Derby. We play matches. We played a skins match, a 3-man skins match. Me, my buddy Andrew, and my dad last night for like an hour and a half. It was 18 holes. Watched every single shot that every single guy hit. So much fun. We do 2-man scrambles. My dad and I played a 2v2 scramble online the other day. It's really fun. It makes you just feel good too. Like you're playing a round of golf. It's a virtual round of golf with your dad, with your buddies. The game is so realistic. The chipping is so hard. The putting, you actually have to read the greens. You get better at the game like you do in real life. It's crazy. So a lot of Barstool stuff in there. You can go to the PGA Tour Superstore inside the game and get all of our stuff. We've got the crew neck. I rock the Tiger Swing crew neck. We've got a bunch of hoodies and hats and stuff in there. It looks so good. The graphics are incredible. They've nailed it. They've nailed this game. So make sure you watch out for our streams. I'll be streaming with my dad coming up soon because you got to hear. It's so funny. Dude, the other day, we're playing with Jersey Jerry. Jersey Jerry joined, and it was a 3-man skins match, right? So my dad, it was a 9-hole skins match, and I had won. So you play for like VC coins. So I set each skin for 30 coins. So I was up, let's say like 120 coins to Jerry's 60, and 3 holes had been pushed, right? So Jerry tied me. So now this last hole, the second to last hole, was worth 120 coins. Okay.
Yeah.
And Jerry hits one out of bounds. I hit one, I'm putting for 4. I make it. My dad has like a 4-foot putt for par, right? And Jerry in the background's like, Mr. Burrell, I need you here. Because if just 2 guys tie, they all tie. Two tie, all tie. So I make my putt. My dad goes, all right, Jerry. And every time he hits, he'll just go, all right. Almost like a Frank the Tank, like, all right. And the ball's just kind of drawn right into the middle of the fairway. He hits absolute bombs. He has a 4-foot putt to push this match to the 9th hole where everything's going to be on the line. And he goes, here you go, Jerry. And he takes the biggest backswing ever and knocks it off the green 200 feet away. And I go, whoa, whoa. And Jerry's like, what the fuck? And he goes, what? He goes, I thought I couldn't win. He thought that he was doing the right thing. You
Mr.
had to see. I laughed so hard I actually puked in my mouth. The way he goes, here you go, Jerry. And the guy took a driver, bop, and knocked it into the ocean. We're like, whoa, it's over. I now get all the coins. He didn't understand.
You simply have to stream these matches.
Oh my God, dude.
You have to.
He'll hit a nice baby draw and just go, all right. And Jerry's like, all right, you're hitting the 320. How is he hitting these things? So
great
PGA Tour 2K25, they've nailed it. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So make sure you do that and join the Barstool Golf Society. Join the society. It's got like 20,000 people in there now. So keep it going.
Connect your 2K account and check out the Barstool Apparel and PGA Tour 2K25. We're going to talk a little Severance. Is that what you want to do, Trent Ryan, here at the end?
Well, I know that we're all into the show. We all watch it, and it's the second season just wrapped up, and I'm sure there'll be a couple of spoilers in here. So if you haven't watched it, or if you are watching it, you just haven't finished the season, I think this is probably the last thing we'll talk about, and then we're going to get out of here. But yeah, no, it's just been a lot of conversation online about the finale and the second season in general. And I just, as guys who I know you watch it, I just wanted everybody's opinion on it.
It's phenomenal. Really good TV, like monumentally good TV. I didn't know how they were going to land the ship. And the thing I don't love about the ending is like they're only doing it just to keep the world alive, like that Severance world alive. Like they only had one option to keep like another season alive. So like that part, like kind of, it's like if this thing ended at 2 seasons, like it could have, but they want a third one. So like, we're going to do this now. Like instead of running one way down the hallway, we're going to run the other way.
Yeah.
And like that part feels a little bit forced to me.
But you don't buy that the innies in that decision would be like, me and all my pals will never exist ever again if I make this call just so this other guy could be with his wife? Or like, do I want me and all my friends to be alive?
I do think that. I do think that they feel that way. I think that, yeah, obviously something changed in the very last second because they knew that it was ending anyway. That's the whole point, right? Like in Mark S.'s mind, there was no, like once Gemma gets out, they're shutting the ship down. It's over. Like this, if you like it, once you've got her to the door, you've now signed your death essentially, right? Like in his mind, he's like, she gets out, she blows the whole fucking cover, and they're like, pull these people out of here. No more working at this place. So like they assumed that was the ending, and now all of a sudden it's like all these stories. Now we have 2 years, however long, to now discuss like, was that actually Helena or whatever Heliar? Was that actually her? Was it her Audi that came in? Because she had a totally different mindset by being like, are you actually leaving? Meanwhile, they just agreed to leave. They kissed goodbye, the whole deal. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's a great show. Don't get me wrong. I just think that there's like, hey, if these guys leave the store right now, the show's over. You know what I mean? So
but
like,
I am also with Riggs.
I
think it was an earned, like legitimate, like it made sense. Even if he knows that like they're pulling everybody out of here now that Gemma's out, like at least me and Helly get like a couple hours together, where as opposed to just like turning my back on her, leaving, and that's essentially suicide for an innie because Mark, once he gets out, he's never coming back in. So I think there's logic behind like, yeah, man, listen, I think we kind of just blew this whole thing up. I did what I said I was going to do to Audi Mark. I'm going to free Gemma. I'm going to get her off the testing floor. But if I get 15 more minutes with Helly, who I love on the inside, and that's how any Mark feels, fuck it, man. I'm going to do it. And like that, to me, it made sense for them to do it that way.
Yep. I'm with you, with all you guys on it. Excellent show. It is so good. It makes you think, makes you feel like you feel some real stuff. The way it's shot that's usually something like you focus on a lot more, Frankie, than me. I like a lot of stuff just kind of goes over my head. You find yourself very perceptive of the way that it's shot, and it is a phenomenal premise. So yeah, I thought the finales of both seasons were as good of finales as I can remember. I mean, the season 1 finale was fucking awesome, and then this one was fantastic. So yeah,
F- for the security at Lumen. Just there's nobody around. You take out Drummond, and then you kind of have the run of the place. And Milchek is stuck in a bathroom with a vending machine. you can just kind of do whatever you want. Like you would think a place like that would maybe have a couple other security guards, but as soon as you do that, like they did whatever they wanted. It was amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean you could spend all day talking about like the realism in it, and like
Sure.
people do that all the time with TV shows. Like how did Jon Snow get from point A to point B in like one season? But like yeah, like all of a sudden there's a marching band that just like comes in, and all those people are like severed. Where have they been this whole entire time? Like you have no idea there's all these doors and all these hallways. Like you don't see anyone walking out of any of them. It's just this one little crew that's working on if this girl can be severed a million times so she doesn't remember her pain. That's the whole basis of this whole entire story. It makes no sense, right? Like why would the whole entire company be about why is the whole company about severing one person until she feels no more pain? Well, that's like the idea that they want to just do for humanity, I guess.
Well, I think the idea is because all the rooms that she goes into are things that people don't like going to the dentist. They're basically trying to like level up severance. So it's like you could be severed when you go to the dentist and you don't feel it. You can when you're having a baby, you don't feel it. When you have like the worst pain that you've ever felt, but you just don't feel it. Like I think it almost felt like they were trying to commercialize severing.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of
thinking
just
that way, that's actually genius.
Like really one of the rooms she goes into is plane turbulence. Like if you're really scared of going on planes, boom, you sever right before you go on, then you're back once you get off. So it's taking this to a whole other level where everybody can get it.
I obviously understood like that was the basis of what they were trying to do. I thought it was like to get to that final Gemma of like a person that feels nothing ever. I never really put it together that like they're going to commercialize different versions of severance. Like when you walk into an airport, you just, that's genius. Cause I'm like, all right, like I get wanting to like create like a super race of like, if that's what they're trying to do, like a race of people that literally doesn't feel pain. They're just happy all the time. Like I thought they were trying to get to that point. Cause obviously they're fucking psychos and it's like a cult, but now that kind of gets me going on. Like, I see the business plan behind it. And like, now it makes more sense as to like why it's like a company. You know what I mean?
But then, but on top of that, there's also some fuckery. Like the Egans are weird as shit. The doctor who had Gemma basically kidnapped, weird as shit. Like when they're, they flash back to the Mark S. and Gemma love story, they're clearly going into these Lumen facilities and they're almost trapping this person. And it like, that's where it gets a little weird. And but I love the show, man. And I think there's real legs to the theory of at the beginning of the finale episode, that creepy Egan guy comes down and sees Helly and is like, I don't love my daughter. I see Kier in you. There's a reality or a world where what they're running to at the end is to bargain with like, just get rid of your daughter and I'm the new daughter and make the innie the outie. And that's how they survive. Like I'm real juiced up about that.
Yeah.
That's like their one bargaining chip that they have.
A lot of people thought that it was not Helly. It was actually the real daughter down there the whole time.
I think they confirmed that it was Helly the whole time because they do a lot of these.
They said that like in a post show thing.
Yeah, this show does a lot of like commentary after. Like I think Ben Stiller might have even said he was like, I was Helly the whole time down there.
Yeah, dude. And then what the humanity behind all of it, and with the innies and what like describing, dude. If you could just offload all the parts of your life that are painful that you hate and not have to deal with it, it's great. But then like, they're dealing with now of the fact that like you're subjecting someone else then to just torture, basically. Like for endless torture is the only experience that these other people get. But then those people are people. And it's like, what do you do with those people? So that premise, the fact that they came up and they fucked with us to this point, it is like, you don't know who to root for, dude. Like, I don't know who to root for. I don't know what to root for. It's like, it's kind of got a little Succession to it in that mind of like, I don't know exactly what I want to happen. And it's like, everybody's kind of getting screwed, right? Like, which I guess makes sense. If you like sever people in half, have them be like half this, half that. It's not like one person makes out like a bandit. The other person is, it's like, you're actually both just kind of fucked. You're not a complete
great
person.
idea.
It was that. It really is a testament to original idea where they just crushed it. Every other show is like, The Sopranos is obviously great, but it's like, it's based on the mob. People know what that is. They have context of it. The Wire based on like crime in Baltimore. Severance is like, what if we just had this chip that cut people in half? And then what are the moral ramifications of that?
Oh, God.
So good. So good. The acting's so good. Honestly, like the whole Milchick scene with the the drum line is so outrageous, like, but just like could have flopped so hard, like him coming out to the Bulls intro. All of this could have been just like a miss when they were writing that episode. It all could have been like the biggest. Like, you got to think too that this was all written like this is really gaining hype now, and like this was all like written like before all that hype is kind of built. So like you're just like in a writer's room writing episode 1 through 8 or 10 or whatever it is, and you're like going through the storyline, and then you write like he's gonna come out to Smoke and like the Bulls theme song, and he's gonna have like a marching band, he's gonna be dancing all crazy, and you gotta like hope that like everyone's already bought into the show leading into that, and they just fucking nailed it all. Like if this ended up being a flop of a show, that episode ends up being laughed at, where you're like, what the fuck is that? But because it's so well written and because it's so well received, we were like captivated by this scene of the way it was shot and the audio. Dude, I watched that in my basement with the surround sound. And when the camera was like spinning around, the drums were going around my head. So you actually felt like you were like Mark S. and Milchick kind of like doing this like standoff and walk. And when he's walking for Helly, like you're like, bro, the audio experience of that was like a 1,000 out of 100. They nailed whoever the audio engineer of that is. That was the greatest moment of his life. Like that's the peak of his career, because there was so much going on, like audio wise. There was chaos.
That the actor that plays Mr. Milchick, Trammell Tillman, I looked it up. That is one of the best acting performances I've ever seen.
He's one of my favorite characters ever.
Character's perfect.
Just using
like you
big
hate
words.
him, but you also like he's so like when he put that what did he put the resignation letter in front of Dylan and then sprinted out of the room. It's little shit like that. It's like, man, the acting, I hope he wins whatever awards are out there, every single one of them.
Oh, his acting was on full blown display when he was like talking into that mirror like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Like trying to talk, like use less big words.
Yep.
Devour feculence, one of the great TV moments. Devour feculence. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to talk about it because I know that we all watch it, and it's just like, I hope we don't have to wait another 3 years until season 3, because I was a guy who didn't start watching Severance until the second season started. So I didn't feel any of that. I was like, oh, this is great.
Same.
But now if I have to wait 3 years, I'm going to be miserable.
Yeah, see, I watched Severance when it first came out and then waited, and like you just feel so disconnected. You almost feel severed from the first season.
That's
like
right.
You guys are so hot on like some of the things that happened in the first season that I had to like sit there and watch a 45-minute recap, which I didn't do. And then like you're just jumping into season 2 and you're like, all right, I do remember like them knocking on the door, screaming she's alive or whatever. And you're just like, I remember it being crazy, but not like if you went from the finale to episode 1, it's like, give me more, baby. Like I need all this. So yeah, you'll experience a little bit of that drag now, which every fucking show that from season 2 to season 3, 3 to 4, once it starts to pick up, everyone deals with this, which you got to hope that they nail season 3 now with all the eyeballs on it. It hasn't been written yet, right? Like they just got renewed. So this is all new.
Yeah, I was reading some stuff last night, and they were saying that it definitely should be quicker than last time because of the pandemic and the strike and everything last time, and hopefully they don't have to deal with that this time. But I don't know.
You know that the season the whole series could have ended the way that the season ended, and it would have been left up to interpretation. Like
if he's standing in the hallway and they just cut.
100%. Like they could have done that, and it would have been like the world would have burned.
Yeah, we live in a world where I need like some sort of closure.
Think about that though. Think about he like looks that way, looks this way, looks into the camera, and then it just goes black, and you never see Severance again.
Listen, I would have been genius. I would have been furious.
I know, but they could have. It was set up for that. It was like knocking on the door. She's at the end of the hallway. Who are you gonna choose? And it's like black screen. Oh my God. We're sitting here being like, I think I saw his eye leaning that way.
Well, I also think there was a thought to them, I would imagine, where it's like end it that way, but then also have a third season, because then you're like, what happens in that hallway?
Yeah.
They actually gave us a little bit more than I feel like traditionally a show would have. Because if you're really going for like hype for season 3, you have him standing there, do what you just said, and then you're like, we'll see you in season 3.
Yeah, that's mean though. Like if you know you're coming back,
fuck,
that's mean.
They kind of said that. Like again, I was reading like a debrief, and they were like, we felt like the audience had put so much time in that they deserved a good amount of answers. Not all the
I
answers,
appreciate that,
but they deserved like a good amount of the answers.
Ben Stiller, shout out to fucking Ben Stiller, man.
Ben Stiller, man, he's just like, Wow.
and answering all the questions on it. Like, it's not like he's just a token name on there. He's like,
See, I'm missing that whole part. I'm like, I'm not watching these fucking recaps, which I'm a moron. I just go straight to Reddit.
I don't watch every piece of commentary because I feel like that might like take a little bit of the magic away from me, but I'm also on Reddit a lot reading like theories and stuff. But yeah, they seem very open to being like, this is what was going on there. Like they don't leave all of it open to interpretation. Like
there's a good amount of the stuff that I turn off, like the reaction stuff, because of that reason, where I'm like, nah, I don't need all this. Like, I just want to think about it.
But
myself.
then I'll read Reddit for 5 hours.
And you got White Lotus, just the worst show to watch at night, where it just makes you feel like a piece of shit. You're like, ugh. These families,
I haven't even started this season. I have no idea what's going on.
It's just so
me
much
neither.
anxiety, and there's so much weird shit going on where you're like, oh. Like watching that at 1 a.m., you just feel gross.
I don't watch it. I really don't.
Yeah. It might be something I watch later, but I'm not going to watch it week to week.
It's a great act. I mean, Walton Goggins.
Yeah.
Walter Goggins or Walton?
It's one of those.
So good. Every time he's on the screen, it's captivating.
He's a great actor.
Oh my God. There's a scene with him and oh my God, how am I forgetting the actor's name now? Whatever. I don't know how I'm forgetting this actor's name.
Famous?
Yeah.
I don't watch the show. I wish I could help.
He gave like an all-time, it was going viral. He gave like an all-time speech.
Oh, I saw clips of that. Who is that? Isn't what that wasn't Goggins? Or
no,
Goggin?
He gave an all-time speech about just like going to Thailand and just like his life kind of getting away from him. It's one of the funniest speeches in TV history. Oh my God, I'm blanking. It's not good for our dozen match that we're about to go into.
Oh, we do have a dozen match today. Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. That name just fucking never sits in there.
I get him in like there. I get him and Ed Norton are the same person.
Ed Norton, yep.
Yeah.
But Sam Rockwell gives an all-time like, where were you when you watched this moment? Where he just goes on this tangent, this rant, and it just keeps getting darker and darker. And it's like one of the fun, like the hardest I've laughed in a long time. Like just real pure belly laughing where he's just like, and Walton Goggins he turned into a meme. He's like, his eyes are just like, what the fuck?
That might get me to watch the show actually.
Oh, dude, this Sam Rockwell, you will text me 100% right after that. All right. I think that's about it, fellas. Yeah, we got a dozen match coming up. So,
yep,
we do.
Get those brains going.
All right, get the brains firing. We'll be back per usual on Thursday for our second show of the week as we kind of creep much closer to the Masters tournament here. Looking forward to Houston. That's all I got. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.